Right.
Marian sits in that chair, so maybe a problem. Maybe smoosh. Or just put it over me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just.
That'll be better. Okay.
We might be high enough to be over there. Are you rolling?
Yeah, we were rolling before.
Yeah. Are you ready? A couple more minutes? Or are we ready to go? Everyone here knows about the raffle. We talked about that. If a few more people come in before the end, we will happily take them.
$5, 3%.
We will happily take their money. We'll jump in. So tonight we're talking to Daniel Miller. All of you know him. But Daniel is a talented artist. He's experienced in drawing, painting, and sculpture. He has worked as a silversmith, a goldsmith, a designer, and an art director. Has built sculptural elements for motion pictures, video games, and casinos. He also works in digital art, both 2D and 3D, and animation. We have a lot to talk about. So my three goals are always first background, where someone starts out, how they first learn things, and influences, and then the process of how you do what you do. So you were born in North Carolina to a military family, but you, as a kid, you lived a bunch of different places.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Foreign countries?
Yes.
Different states?
Yes.
Are there a couple you want to talk about that were particularly good or bad or memorable or?
Well, I was really young in Japan and Germany, but it was really instrumental. It was really informative for me to experience other cultures that young.
How young were you? Because I mean, Germany is, because our culture is kind of European. It's maybe more similar to Japan is really foreign to our culture. So how did those impact you?
Grade school years, but my parents were avid travelers, you know, so we got to go to Italy and Austria and we were in Japan. We were always going to castles, just as always.
Castles in Japan. I don't think about castles in
They
Japan.
have them, they're wonderful. The few castles, they're very different.
The European castles.
Yeah, so that was really important for me. In terms of states, I've been back and forth to Texas a few times, and as an actor over there, that's how I got involved in the movie industry. Actually, went to Austin, Texas.
I don't usually go to Texas to join the movie industry.
You know,
So I want to ask you about
I
that.
wanted to go to LA, and I couldn't get anyone interested in me. And I knew that if I went there to just knock on doors, it would be very frustrating. But they call Texas the Third Coast because a lot of movies are made there. And my first film was Texas Chainsaw Massacre too. I was actually an art director. So that's how I got my foot in. And after I did 3 or 4 movies in Texas, then it was easy for me to go to LA because I had Fred.
Did you know films were filming in Texas at that time, or you just went there to? Now, as a kid, did you always draw and paint in color, or what did you like to do? Were there subjects you always?
Always drawing and painting since really young. My parents were very supportive. They're both very creative as well, although they never found a way to make it a livelihood in a way, but they were very supportive. So
How were they creative, your mom and dad?
they both drew very well. My dad's a great builder and problem solver. My brother was a flower and he drew all kinds of crafts kind of things. But I was carving my first stone at 16, so I
You were carving stone, like chisel and.
right. So it was great fun.
That's cool. And also drawing 2D, 3D, making things.
My mom was so fond of me, she let me do wax sculptures in the kitchen, which was always a mess.
Wax shavings
I
everywhere.
had 10 pounds of beeswax and I would just melt it down, make a sculpture, melt it down, make a sculpture over and over and over again. So it was great.
That's cool. And how about classes in school? Did you do art in school?
I did.
In like
High
Germany and
school.
Japan, or?
Not very much.
Not so
but in high school, in Texas and North Carolina. And it was oftentimes a bit of a problem too, you know, because you get to be kind of the art teachers that you really doesn't be, serious about art at that age. So,
Were you already sick? Did you know that's what you wanted to do? Is there anything else you wanted to do?
4th grade.
Really?
I really wanted to be an astronaut, but I knew that. I knew that. Doing art was what I was going to do.
That's good. So then drawing. Okay. So that's always
What
been
has
a goal.
really been good for me is just that I've always been self-taught.
So not an art degree or anything, but just studying and learning. Who and how do the different cultures you think affect? Do they affect the subject matter that you like to paint? Like, do the castles in Japan come back into your memory, or
It's
who
about
knows?
specific things. I think it was just
Oh.
at that age, just seeing that the world was big and different, and you know that everything wasn't like the place where you grew up. For example, it was just the way I look at everything. I still love castles, and I still love art, and I love all of Europe and that sort of thing, and traveling as well. But
Traveling is so good for instance. I think a lot of people don't travel enough. It really does. Just seeing
and
different.
just different art. For example, Japanese art, it's just so beautiful. Their design and space is awesome.
When you were a kid, did you go to museums? Did your parents go to see?
To
things?
see Japanese art everywhere, and everything that they make is beautiful. They're artists.
Who do you remember early influences, or do you remember what famous artist or any sort of
For sure.
famous thing that you went, oh, who was that?
I think it was in that 10 or 11 years old. My parents gave me a very big fat Salvador Dali book for Christmas.
Oh,
And, yeah,
Dali.
so totally
Yeah.
early age.
The surrealist idea was big even as a little kid.
These days, I still find influences that I latched onto really early in my life are still paramount to me. My all-time favorite painter in the world is Joaquin Sorolla, and he's a contemporary of a living painter named Andrew Zorn and Johnson Sargent. They're all very old, but
Who's Sargent? I don't know the other two. Is he
fantastic.
from where?
Sorolla's from Spain, and Zorn is from Sweden. They're working all three of them are just
Realist kind of?
yeah, realist, but
Sargent is
Sargent, you know,
realist,
it's
right?
incredibly expressive brush. Really cold energy. Just what I really love. So for many years, I've been painting art since I was 10. I always painted very tight, detailed, very smooth and slick and polished. And as I've gotten older, I've just started thinking about time is fun. So I'm really trying to get back into this idea of the expression and
Kind of
the
more-
paint have its own voice as well.
More play, a little looser, not quite as
Quite a bit
tight.
looser, thicker, more
Yeah.
expressive, more fun.
Looser and thicker.
Yeah.
No, so the actual doing of it's more fun too, because you're not as,
And really, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not so much the finished product as the journey. And that period of time when you're painting where time just stops to exist, it's just getting that information. That's what it's all about.
do you feel that when you're painting, or are you totally focused in your,
But I'm pretty disciplined about it. I paint at least 5 days a week from 6 a.m. to 12, unless something gets in my way.
see, so every morning, so you start the day,
That's my best time.
is it?
Yeah.
First thing in the morning. And do you work on more than one thing at a time, or do you focus on one, or does it matter?
Most of the time, one thing.
Do you? So you don't have a bunch of canvases that you plan
I have a bunch of failed things in the corner that I have to fix. Start
They
over.
might not be fast,
Start over.
they're in process, they're not failures.
That's true. You do learn something from everyone. I think a lot of people don't realize that you never guarantee one success does not guarantee another. It's try to live with flow.
How did you learn about sculpture? You said you started like actually chiseling stone as a kid, right? Because then you've done sculpture that's been in commercial places. And how do you learn the different processes for building? Like, you're not making all those out of stone, you just play around and.
In the modern world, especially for films, in casinos, they don't want to wait for it or pay for it because it's so labor intensive.
So you're working in foam and things like that.
And I made up a lot of my own processes.
Okay.
I invented a machine that sprays oil-based clay, which was really instrumental in a lot of my work.
It sprays oil-based.
Right, so you can make a 10-foot sculpture out of foam, put a clay surface on it, and everything by detail, but it's not going to weigh very much. It's a more solid clay or plaster.
Oil-based clay, so you actually, so it's like a spray gun, but it sprays clay.
Right, spray molten clay. So, and then of course, this is just a transitional material. It's not, good stuff, you have to make a mold, translate it into something for.
So
senior or films.
oil-based clay to then make the mold.
You make the model, and then you make a mold, you translate it into something else. And I think I got a picture of bronze at Mandalay Bay on the Cancer Theater area. That was made from clay over foam. So it can be used for.
So, and that's right now at Mandalay Bay, Dancer. Cool. We can go see that. How did you learn digital art skills, computer skills, and why, like what propelled you into that? And then I'm also curious how you use that, if you use it in combination with traditional methods as well, how those mix for you.
I was an early adapter. I bought my first computer in probably 1981 when there were almost no apps for
Was
it.
it Commodore 64 or what?
But the only thing that it could really do was play games, and so I became game addicted at that period of time. I felt so guilty about it. I sold it for a motorcycle. So, but then
Less guilty about the motorcycle than the computer.
Yeah, I get a motorcycle for
Okay,
200
okay.
years. But what happened though was getting my feet in there early. There was an interest, but there just weren't any apps that hold my interest.
Yeah.
In the early 90s, they started showing up, and the first time I saw someone drawing with a digital tablet, I said, "That's it. That's what I'm waiting for." So I jumped right in. I've been using Photoshop, for example, since version 1.5. So it's been a long time.
Which is when, since probably
Early
90s or.
And then
What did you
of course,
first do with that? What was your first like playing around in Photoshop? Just
Yeah,
painting in it? So not using photos, but actually painting
well,
it.
some using Photoshop, but mostly
But using the painting tools of Photoshop.
then all of that digital revolution just kind of came and swept creative people up, and I was just one of those. When I saw the first films that had 3D elements in them, like the last Starfighter and Tron, I got really excited. Those were the first big films that had 3D elements generated digitally.
From Tron, you said?
Tron was one, and last Starfighter. So I was of course interested in that too, and I was early on with the 3D stuff as well. So I taught myself. I worked nights and weekends for a year before I became the first.
Hello there.
So that's
And have you've done animation for people, or you've done digital art for films and things, or mostly
I've done matte paintings for films, digital matte paintings. And
matte paintings used in the scenes, like background paintings?
Well, the scene, it's not the scene, it's painting. And
So are there movies where you've seen your matte paintings in the scenery?
if you've seen The Martian Child or
The Martian Child?
Chronicles of Narnia or Chronicles of Riddick.
So you have painting of the Chronicles of Narnia, and so scenic where it's like a backdrop of mountains or hills or a scene, and you just painted that too.
Well, oftentimes we use 3D elements as well. Like if I were going to do a castle in a scene like I did for Narnia, I wouldn't just paint the castle from scratch. I would go to 3D, write it, texture it, and then paint that. Because that gives me all the elements to start working with.
So you build a sculpture to inform your painting.
Digitally,
You build a sculpture digital. So on the
Yeah.
computer, you design and build
right?
the castle so that you can then paint it.
Right. Digitally.
Paint it digitally. So this is all computer graphics.
Right.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's like,
Right. So, having that interest actually paid off for me because I got that sort of work. I did a lot of video games as a concept artist.
designing the games themselves,
The look.
the look of the
Yeah,
game.
the looks of the games, not the game, but what futuristic or alternate worlds might look like, lots of that sort of stuff. And that's a combination of 3D and 2D work in the same way as an acting. So, for example, I need to give an illustration to producers of what I might think a futuristic type of put in 3D, and then paint that in digital.
All digital.
Or just to explain how the world works in place.
Huh.
So,
It's interesting because like in a film, even if it's a not of this world, like if you're doing scenic painting, you still have to have the perspective of distance and near. I mean, it still has to be legitimately, even if it's not of this world, it has to work from a visual standpoint. So it's an interesting combination.
the wonderful thing about 3D programs is you can go into 3D, you can go to virtual world, you can get the atmosphere and everything. You work all of that stuff out, change perspectives, change your lights, change your textures. So, still use those skills for my painting process as well. I generally get an idea and I'll start with a sketch. And then I'll develop that sketch sometimes digitally.
How does he get so pencil sketch or digitally in Photoshop? Either with both. You use both, depending on how you're feeling or what you're doing. Or...
I have 3D models that goes with that. Use a figure of work.
That it goes well. Okay.
Different kind of vehicle.
So you built in Photoshop or in
No, in 3D.
In 3D program. I obviously do not know all of the programs for digital and animation.
And I've been working with that process now for a while, and that's actually, this series was kind of inspired by a desire to see what it would be like not to do that.
Not to do digital.
Not to do any preparatory work. No sketches, no anything, just start painting.
Just start painting. So that's what, let's see what else do I want to talk about. You're also, we'll talk about the process in a second. The other, so the mapping, 2D, and you've built sculpture elements for other films. What did you build for condos?
I took the, mostly the content arena, which is where Dan Aykroyd fights the golf off. The golf. The little rock. So it was a
So
really
you did the arena, you designed it. That's so funny.
There were other elements as well, but that's the really big stuff. My first big scale film was on the actual located, which had all that giant stuff.
Oh yeah, so did you build some of the giant stuff?
In those days,
And that's actual, that's
yeah,
not,
that's-
and that's not digital,
kind
that's
of pre-digital
building
world. They
stuff.
did have a little bit in there. They had digital raindrops when the kids back in the day. Sprinklers and memory threads, but everything else had to be.
That's true. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was sort of before a lot of the digital stuff, so it was all practical building things. Where if they get it now, they might,
Mostly digital.
it'd be mostly digital. So the stuff in that, you actually build giant things. It's kind of fun. Is that a fun gig?
That was fun.
It always depends on movies. Sometimes it's fun and
That was
sometimes
filmed in Mexico. So I would be in Mexico for a long time.
with the per diem and everything. So sometimes location shoots are good.
Did James Bond film there as well.
Oh, was that the, yeah, the 007 License to Kill? That was in Mexico too? What'd you make for the 007?
Tons of props and weird things that they had in that movie, but mostly it was a kind of facade of a Baroque building that they actually filmed the build, a lot of action around the building. So if they wanted to blow the building up, of course they couldn't blow up a building that wasn't clear side. And it had lots of sculpture.
So that was actually building
Styrofoam copy.
a styrofoam copy of a full-size building facade? Was it
You
full?
don't have to build the whole thing. It was full scale.
Front facade, but full scale.
Mostly the pediment of the sculpture was.
So interesting. And just such a great variety of where you can apply different art skills in different arenas.
Well, that's an interesting thing that I would like to comment on because I started thinking when I was pretty devoted fantasy painter in the Bible Belt in North Carolina. And I was all good with that until I started having a family. And then I realized I couldn't make them start with them, so that's why I got involved in the jewelry industry too.
That's right, so you're a silversmith and a goldsmith as well, so you did make and sell jewelry for a while?
13 years.
For 13 years. So metalwork.
But we all through that time, I still kept painting, but I knew how to way to get those be the kids. So that was,
But you did that designing of jewelry.
but 2.5 years ago, I finally felt like it's time for me to start doing my own stuff full time and give up the day job. And so that's where I am now.
The day job being working for films and video games and things and for hire, so sort of for hire. So what, and right, so you also worked on the Fountain of the Gods at Caesar's Palace, so you built some of,
I've got almost 40 gods.
Really?
Didn't do like entablature or architecture around it, for the rocks, but I did all the figures.
all the figures there. So from the Caesar's Palace to that fountain, those are all your, and that's again like foam or,
It was foam, now it's fiberglass, but it was carbon foam, that's what I developed the place sprayer for that project. Because casinos have the nasty thing called like champagne taste of your budget. They wanted it to look like marble, but they really weren't going to pay for anything else for that. And the problem with foam is that it has a
carve it in foam, coat it with a spray of oil clay, and then you make a cast and cast it in fiberglass?
Plaster waste. So it's just one shot, yeah. You make a big plaster shell around the sculpture.
And
you
that's
open it
it?
up and you take out the foam and the clay, and then you put fiberglass and put it back together, and then you destroy it or rip the part out.
You destroy the plaster, so if it doesn't work, you have to start all over again.
Yeah. It works, it's a really old technique.
And then the fiberglass, that's smooth and you paint it to look like marble, or is that? There's so many steps involved in casting, because there's like the positive and the negative and the cast and the mold.
Right.
So your process, generally speaking, you have worked at, you said you had worked at Mandalay Bay too, and at the Luxor, what do you know at the Luxor?
At the Luxor, I don't think I had anything left.
You're still,
There
your
was-
class still there?
Yeah, there was a big club there called Rock. And I got
Some of
lots
the
of Egyptian
Egyptian
sculptures,
things.
futuristic Egyptian stuff. Had some life size, Egyptian Amazon figures that were cool.
Cool. That's cool. So typically, let's talk about the process a little bit, and we can talk about it, how that has changed for you over the years, or how once digital came in, if that affects your planning, or like originally, whether you sketch to go to painting, or how the ideas come typically? Is it different for all different projects?
Well, it's different, probably more by subject matter. I'm kind of confusing to get people that really like fantasy, surrealism, that sort of thing, and sci-fi. But I also love landscaping, so I do a fair amount of landscapes. I really love this edition.
This is a new piece.
A new piece from this week, which is moving towards that use of brushwork that I've been trying to get to. And in this case, 4th of July, my girlfriend and I went to Central Coast in California, near San Luis Obispo. And I just took tons of pictures. I did a couple of paintings there. And this is done from the photographs I took while I was there. So for things that are more figurative, much more romantic sort of situation, I spend more time on the drawings, more outline details. Sometimes scan those in, get them in the computer, do them in Photoshop, work on them, because I can explore lots of places that might be dead ends without investing the effort
Right.
of the painting.
So it's almost like going back and forth between traditional media sketching and then putting it into Photoshop and playing it, and then putting it back into traditional media, which is,
All of it is just a tool.
yeah.
So that's how I
It's true. I'm always curious though about how different people use digital, and they'll do something on the computer and then project it in paint, or they'll use it as a sketch or just as reference material. And you actually go back and forth sometimes.
But in fact, I'm working on painting this week. Today I was having trouble with a certain part of that, just like not really happy with where it went. So I
Yeah.
took a photograph of it and took it into Photoshop and I corrected it in Photoshop so I knew it would go with paint.
So you can play with it in Photoshop and kind of work out the
Because it's
problem.
just so hard to change colors with paint, without making a mess or turning it into mud. So you really
Right.
kind of know where you're going. So.
And then Photoshop, you can just go delete, undo, undo,
Exactly.
undo,
Make
undo.
55 layers and see which one works.
You can't undo once it's
Filter.
faded. It's a little harder to do. So you've done, and you like doing different, right now you're working more on oil painting, are you doing sculpture for yourself at all, or you're not doing any metal work right now?
I do some occasional freelance 3D work for some local companies, casinos, and that sort of thing.
3D digital?
Digital animation. But I'm really focusing on painting, and there are a number of reasons for that. Number one is I've had a large scale sculpture because frankly it's toxic as hell. It's really, really tough working in it.
Materials.
I've done many years of it. I need to get out of that for a while. I
You're
love
gonna
this.
breathe oil paint instead.
I use odorless mineral experiences. But no, it's far less toxic and it's far
Yeah,
less
for sure.
overhead for me.
Yeah.
I would still love to work in clay and do stuff on my own. I intend to, but to actually keep a working studio overhead for sculpture is 10 times what it is for painting.
Yeah.
So also for me, I feel like sculpture is my natural mission. Painting is more difficult for me.
You
And so
feel
I
more
really-
3D.
I want to work on painting as well. Until I at least get to a point where I feel like I can do that.
But you feel more 3D, you like shaping
Yeah.
things rather than.
3D is it's really there. It's
Yeah.
what it is what it is. And
Yeah.
There's no illusion about it. If you're a realist painter, it's really about illusion to a large extent. So
Now let's talk about the 13 paintings behind us, and that one as well. specifically to hang here this month. You said you didn't sketch or anything, you just pulled out the canvas and the paint.
I actually made all the panels the same size first, stacked them up.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I come in the
A
morning.
stack of
take
panels,
one
okay.
out, put it up, and start painting every panel.
Are there any stories about particular ones, about what you were thinking at the time? I didn't pick any, or if there's any that you'd like to talk about, where it came from, or how?
You know, I have to say I had trepidation about doing this because my idea was to try and not censor myself. And the first couple ones that came out were rather dark. And I just thought, I'm just gonna have to go with it. Some of them actually failed pretty badly. I worked on them for 4 or 5 hours ago. That's just really sucks. And I wipe it out and start again. So I did probably 3 or 4 of those. But
I think that's the expected result.
a lot of these are really just about start making some strokes and see how it feels and what's coming up. You know, a couple of them I did have an idea. Yeah, maybe just thought.
Images, they just.
Yeah, this little douchebag was one of those. I saw him in my head for a while.
The douchebag was following you around? Was it?
But you know, it was pretty enjoyable all in all, and I really would like to get this thing, same sort of approach going on a larger scale. It's kind of part of my goal, because I really like to work on imagination. But
And just thinking on the canvas,
Yeah.
just thinking and going right on the canvas.
I'm still sorting out things like what do you really want to say with that? So,
Well, I think this is like a really great collection of images and fantasy and all sorts of, and the color palette's really beautiful too.
thank you. Thank you much.
And then is this the large painting here, when did you do that, or what was the
I did that,
process for that?
I did that 2 weeks, 3 weeks after this.
So that's fairly recent, that's a new piece.
And that was something that was totally premeditated. I hired a model, set the whole thing up, and then I photoshopped the background. And
Figured out the background or Photoshop, okay. That's beautiful too. And what are you, so you wanted, I was gonna ask what you're working on now, but you're really sort of focusing on oil painting, and this is brand new this week.
so I'm kind of bouncing back and forth. I do a landscape or two, and then I'll do a few fantasy pieces. And back and forth. They feed each other for me, because even in my fantasy work, I like to have landscape elements. So it's good for me to have a better facility in that regard as well.
Yeah.
Plus, I have to say, landscapes are just relaxing compared to the other stuff because
Well, that's fine.
you
Just
they're
doing them,
relaxing game because you can move a rock, you can change the color, and nobody cares or knows.
whereas if you move someone's nose from their face, it's.
Unless they're getting my way.
Right. Cool. Well, so, and you also did you do a series of paintings of homeless
I did.
people, or what?
That was showed.
Yeah.
I showed here in the arts gallery in the cinema. And I've been invited to do another show at Left of Center Gallery next summer. So maybe visit that subject.
Homeless, studies of homeless people. Now, did you take pictures of them and paint from that?
I started actually trying to go up and meet them, give them some water or a bowl, give them some money if they would let me take their picture.
Yeah.
The first few times, the first few sessions, that's how I approached it. But I quickly became unhappy with that because they were conscious of the camera. They weren't being themselves. They were posing. Frankly, even if they didn't think they were posing, they would. So I stopped doing that. I just started using the long things. And some people have complained. They say, well, you know, maybe that's invasion of privacy or something like that. But I give 50% of every homeless painting I sell to the National Alliance of Homelessness. So I'm donating to the community of ours individually.
Now, how was the painting that you talked about painting landscapes, painting relaxation? Those were really good. Was it good? Yeah.
Right.
Just sort of kind of honoring them.
It was,
in a way, or
yeah, it's
helping-
a real challenge because
Yeah.
you don't want to normalize that situation. And at the same time, you don't want to make it so stressing that no one wants to live it. So I was trying to find a balance between
Sort of
a
honoring and respecting
a
them.
respectful realism. That's what I'm doing.
Huh. Is there anything else you want to mention about what you're working on paintings and just?
Just
trying to do stuff for yourself that you like.
This is, we'll see where it goes.
That's good. Does anybody have any questions for Daniel about any of the works? Or Marian has a question? Sandy's question.
On this painting, the color palette reminds me of,
Maxwell Parish.
thank you. Was that
Well, he's
intentional?
one of my heroes. I wouldn't say it was intentional, but I definitely love his work very much.
So probably
And in fact, I've had some other comments. This guy over here pulling the load, I've been told that he looks a lot like Howard Pyle. That style of color.
And then also, do you use projection at all, or no?
I use grid.
So, oh yeah, you use
Grid. Oh, for something like this, I might have to, because you just start.
Okay, right.
Actually, for like this even, I just draw it on the
Right.
canvas because it's so simple.
But when it's a figure like
something like
this,
that, I work it out. Usually work half size first, and then use a grid to transfer it up. So I'm only drawing half the size and finish.
and like on these paintings, would you say, was there an average amount of time that you spent on each?
Maybe 4 hours.
Okay.
4 hours.
Anybody else? Yes.
Did you say that, maybe I missed it, because unfortunately I was talking when you get here, but, did you say that, because you worked in movies, right? You did, how much of that do you feel has influenced your work? Did you already communicate about that, or?
No, I don't.
I know when we spoke last time on the opening, I didn't mention that, but I realized in reading about your bio, I've been really curious about how much you feel it influences, and if you, just however the influence would be now and to be present.
I think that my nature of these sort of work has been with me since at least a teenager, if not younger. And that's probably one of the reasons that got me into movies, was because I already had that kind of mentality or like thinking in sci-fi fantasy worlds, did my thing for so long that led to my success getting into the films because I had some involved there.
Yeah, I do think, like we said before a little bit, that working in film, if you're doing scenic, it has to be good realistic painting, which you don't sort of think about for fantasy movies, but you have to be a really good renderer of perspective and scenery and scale and everything to make that
Sculptural
work.
stuff is amazing too, but
Yeah.
I've loved mythology, medieval stuff, dinosaurs, and robots since I was behind to a grasshopper. And so it's no surprise that I got to work on Jurassic Park, because dinosaurs are in my DNA. And mythology for Caesar's Palace.
Yeah. But
I got to realize
you
a lot
built
of my
stuff in
childhood
Jurassic
because
Park?
I built the dinosaurs for the ride at Universal Studios, not for the movies.
For the ride. Are those like animatronics? So are they like rubbery kind of material?
Yeah, silicone skins, all that sort of stuff.
So did you work with
Cool.
someone to do the engineering of the
I
animatronics?
did. I worked in Salt Lake City with a robotic company for a year and a half on that project. And I only had to do the skins. They had to do the
Right.
robot part, but it all had to come together in the end, and that was the hardest part.
Because it physically had to
Yeah.
work with the robotics. Oh,
And
that's
unlike a
fascinating.
movie, you know, where you can make different versions to do different things.
Yeah.
In this case, these guys have to work 16 hours a day, 7 days a week.
They're moving all day, every day.
So it's quite challenging.
That's cool though. That's such a cool. It's so interesting to just find ways to learn just different techniques. It's like, do you know how to build a silicone movable dinosaur? It's like, well, let's figure it out. You know, I think it's interesting. Yeah.
Really, I had to do most of making the sculptures for the dinosaurs, but I was involved in the skin and the R&D for all of that too. So it was good.
So where do you learn about what dinosaur skin looks like?
Well, you know, in this case, Jurassic Park, the ride, there wasn't a lot of freedom about what things looked like because it was already established.
There wasn't. So
There
you
wasn't,
really
so
used
I
the
had-
movie as what the visual had to be.
I had to make Universal Studios happy.
Right.
With everything that we did for the ride had to look like a movie.
Spielberg has to be nice. You don't piss off Spielberg.
But again, that's where the clay sprayer paint was instrumental in that job. Because if you're making a gigantic dinosaur sculpture, you don't want it to weigh 10 tons. It's just too hard to move around and mold and flip it over.
Right.
So it's made out of foam over a lightweight steel frame, and it clay surface, you can get beautiful detail.
So now, do other people use that technique that you kind of invented, or?
You know, previously, in terms of spraying, people have been doing that with brushing it on.
Brushing it out, so spraying it on is just kind of good.
More secure. I have heard that a few other people have built machines, and I've built iron. And so,
Huh.
sold it behind it.
Interesting. Technology adds into it. Huh?
That's more talking than I've done.
It's cool. I'm always just intrigued by how, you know, everyone's life, your influences just come from everywhere, and just how you, the learning of different techniques and the technical with the creative. I just think all of that's really interesting.
You just gotta be curious. You can figure out something.
Curious.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's like just learning how can I do this better? What's a better way to do this? Or I don't know how to do this at all, and how do I figure it out? Yeah, between the digital and the, yeah, it's great. Well, good. Are there any other questions?
What's your biggest learning process in your whole career? What would you say is your
Painting. Painting has been more challenging to me than anything else I've ever done.
you know, in your paintings though, when I first saw your stuff, I knew you knew 3D because it comes through on your paintings.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have, your paintings are all 3D. They're not two-dimensional like a lot of artists. They struggle with that.
You know, it's funny because I feel like sometimes now I'm trying to get more two-dimensional and it goes against my grain, but I'm attracted to it.
Learning how to communicate 3D in a 2D.
Well, just how to communicate what I want to say without being trapped in a world of light and shadow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're involved in
I think it's
That's
funny.
why I want to do fantasy, because there I can make up my own world
Right.
and follow my own rules, and that can only be fun.
Yeah.
That's you, Daniel.
I think it's funny because I think, at least I would think of like, you sketch and then build a sculpture, but you talk about using sculpture to help you with the 2D stuff, which, and I just heard that Richard McDonald, the figurative sculpture, he spoke to us the other day, and he first started doing sculpture, he was an illustrator, he started doing sculpture to understand his drawings better, and then someone wanted to buy the sculpture, and he went, oh. But it seemed backwards to me, but you're doing the same thing, where it's like
But you
using
know,
sculpture to understand the
The
2D.
skills that they develop, they can help with other things. Even things that I learned as a jeweler, I apply to large scale sculptures, and especially the sense and understanding of the process and how to make things roll over and move on to the next step
Yeah.
efficiently.
Yeah.
So,
It's true. It's all. It's good. It's good. Anybody have one more?
I don't, this is a little odd question, I don't know if anybody, this is covered, but, how relaxing is this for you, and what kind, are you listening to music, what kind of music, like a studio, what is the setup that you have when you get into it? Like your studio space and like a contemplative space, or you go fast, like, the nature of your process, that's,
Okay.
unless you've already covered that.
my studio space is converted from my dining room, the house that I live in, so I'm only 15 feet from the coffee pot.
Which is always good.
Right, and I do listen to music, but I keep it really, really low, because it can influence me. And I have maybe 30,000 songs on my playlist, but you know, if you're going from Pink Floyd to classical, it can affect you. So I want it there for company and background noise, but I'm not all the time jamming on it. You know, my painting process, I'd say I'm a fast painter, and when I get frustrated with the painting, I'll try and muscle through it up to a certain point, and then when it starts feeling like I should just start over. You know, so I usually finish. If I don't finish a painting in 3 days, I'm usually in trouble because I'm not the same person anymore, and I'd rather just get a clean slate.
How you get frustrated at that point?
Yeah.
You work on more than one thing at a time? Oh, that's interesting, only one, huh?
I usually start it one morning at 6 to 12, and then I'll finish it the next morning. If everything's going the way I want for something that's not as big as that one, but say this size.
How long did that one take?
That one I had to work on for 4 days. It was getting to be a strain.
I didn't even notice that one on the opening, I was just looking at it, you saw my photo.
So like when you say 4 days, after 4 days, you just get like you lose interest?
Well, usually I'll call it done, but I won't be satisfied with it. It's not like I lost interest. It's just if the bigger canvas lots of ideas I'm working on one time on the computer,
Okay.
but I don't
Oh, okay, so
physically.
So there's studies going on simultaneously.
But execution wise, it's usually just one thing at a time.
Got it.
one thing at a time and, well, typically within a day or two or three.
Right.
And then you're done, but you have other like sketches and.
I got a question for you. Without animating any of them, like say that one or that one?
I haven't.
Because you did like a little animation of it painting, and even if it was a little 3-second GIF, you know?
Oh, yeah?
Kinda cool to see the car start corroding.
Could do that.
For people moving slowly in the background or something.
Well, you-
Where the birds fly.
In fact, these days you can scan in one like that dinosaur kind of guy.
Yeah.
You can separate him out in layers
Yeah.
and then you
Yeah.
can animate him in 2D.
Yeah, why not? I think it'd probably make you really happy seeing that. Because it'd be your own little mini movie, you know? You have movie experience. You didn't do that for nothing. Alright, you had fun with it, I know you did.
Do you ever put on certain music you like to like get you in a certain mood? Or it's mostly just love?
Well, just let it go, right.
Anybody else?
Did I answer your questions? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I can email you or call you and if you want to get more, so I just, yeah.
Okay.
I don't wanna take over.
Okay, I guess we're done then. Now, once again, the raffle, if you weren't here to know about the raffle, the winner will get to pick any of these 13 pieces and go
Yeah, right.
home with it.
Yeah, right. Really?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No, $5 a ticket or $3.
$10.
That's
That's
what
serious?
we're-
That's a serious?
You-
That's serious?
Daniel
Oh my
said
God.
this when he got here today, whoever
Yeah.
wins gets to select whichever of
Thank you.
these
More than-
13 pieces
So
they
that
want.
I felt like I had somebody.
So $10.
We're still selling tickets.
Yes, we are still selling tickets, so if anybody wants a ticket or 3 tickets for $10, and then we will draw these momentarily and so
These are the 13
Going home after this? Hey, attention, right?
canvases.
Hey, let's not talk about it. Is that okay?
Hey, I was trying to be on your side and you turned.
Oh, huh? Me?
You broke up the ring.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no.
Maybe switched it.
No, they never.
So I went to
I'm trying to keep it level. These are really nice.
see.
But, and
I just thought hopefully in your
you know, I don't know, turn out to be anti-feminine. But,
Can I do that?
this pinpoint is
Today, Ian was walking and you were
so late,
What a group.
Oh, Sam.
No, you were great, you were great. No, I understand. I used to always understand some person. I have to. I wish I proved it.
All these things will be gone next week. We have a lot of prints, postcards. This is Jeffrey Locklement's work. Some Jim LaBelle pieces. This is Lorenzo Caldron's work. We have a David Fay doll here. Pretty exciting. I'm trying to go slow. This is from Nate Murray. Monk. These are original paint shirts by Alex P. Horta. Heather Herman's work. Mike Biggs' work. Donald Riley. The Story of Bigsley. J.O. Another piece by Curtis Joe Walker. This is Jana and Friends wall. This is a piece by Vizoon. This is the Elite Artist last year.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I can see that, so, yeah. Yeah, I know, she's saying he's free.
It's free.
Are you coming into the event?
I just don't go.
Okay, cool. I don't know these things. Alright, because I try to.
All right, anybody else want to wrap something up? We're gonna do the drawing right now.
Oh, okay. You changed your number? It's the same number as your. Alright, yeah, thank you. Nice to meet you, Julie. Do you want a card?